Hi, and welcome to the 2013 Amateur Championships brought to you by Dynamic Discs. We're here in Cedar Hill, Texas, the Mount Lebanon course, and as you can see behind me, there's people already checking in and ready to play some disc golf. Today's weather calls for clear skies and 84 degrees. There's 3 courses for this particular event: the Beaver, the Coyote, and Mount Lebanon. Let's see if we can catch up with a few players to see what's so unique about each one of these courses.
The Coyote is an interesting course. It's a very tightly wooded course. It's it's one of the top-rated courses in our area, a 4+ course, but it's not very long, probably less than 5,000 feet total distance. But that's because there are a lot of very, very tight wooded shots. There's only about 2 holes that are really open enough for you to even try to bomb, and one of them goes uphill significantly, so it inhibits that. It's a course that really get a premium pay on accuracy, but the thing that makes it really tough is you gotta get 5 or 6 birdies to score well. But the course is one that if you do something wrong and you get off the fairway, it's gonna punish you. It's not like you can go for the birdie and then you miss your line, you'll save your par easily. That's not gonna happen very often. If you lose that fairway, lose that disc off the fairway with a bad ricochet into the woods, it's gonna punish you with a stroke or 2. So it's a very tightly wooded course.
The Beaver course is a good course in this 3-course complex. It's probably the one that you can score the best on. There's more chances for birdies, and the hard holes are easier to manage. On the other 2 courses, you can get in a lot of trouble if you get too aggressive, whereas the Beaver, it allows for a little bit more aggressiveness, I guess, that you can really go after some of the baskets. That being said, there's a couple of holes that'll really get you. So you have to manage yourself well. You have to know when to put the gas on and when to put the brakes on.
All right, the Mount Lebanon Baptist Camp here is a nice addition to what we have going on in Cedar Hill already. Something that shares a property line with the 2 existing courses, and we're able to come in here and kind of add on to it and enhance the overall Cedar Hill experience. So what we've done is we've taken what was an existing 9-hole layout and really lengthened it out, added some new challenges, pushed back into the woods and in the terrain, played with some elevation issues, and we got some creeks and just a nice myriad of changes, and we've run through and just added to what we already had in the town.
Round 1 proved to be somewhat difficult for some of the intermediate players out at Mount Lebanon, but for others, it was just another day out in the park. Let's take a look at some of the highlights from the intermediate at round 1. Going into round 2 for the advanced men's, we have Jonathan Miller in the lead with 48, followed by Jared Millard with a 51, then a 3-way tie for 3rd place with Jimmy Hernandez, Tyler Trimble, Larry Major with a 52. I had a chance to talk to Jonathan Miller to see what his plans are to maintain that lead in round 2.
The challenges that I faced in round 1 were basically the boxes, because we had a little bit of rain last night, and so I had some wet boxes. Other than that, and because of the wet boxes, I really just tried to play simple, just trying to keep it in the middle. The wind's starting to pick up a little bit. A few of these holes at the beginning are short. The first one's a little long. I'll probably just stick with either my stable trespass, or I'll go with the giant. My stable giant, just backhand up the middle, keep it up there, and then from there on out, I'll probably throw stable suspect on a few holes.
Now let's take a look at some highlight footage out on the Coyote course for the men's advance here at the Amateur Championships, brought to you by Dynamic Discs. All right, going into round 3 here at the 2013 Amateur Championship, we had, let's see, John Harris and Andres Villarreal. They were tied for first place. And then for another tie for second place was Corey and Kyle. And they were both 1 stroke away from the lead. So we had a moment to talk to each of these to see what their game plan was for round 3.
Par number 1. First thing, it's long, it's uphill. You get this par, and then, you know, everything else can fall in place because a lot of the group's going to bogey this hole. So you get par on this hole, everything else comes together. All these first 5 holes are pretty much birdie holes. So you get those, you're good. Take your birdies when you can, play safe.
You know, I just want to come out here and play solid, make some putts, put my drives in the fairway, don't get off in the rough.
Just play, act like I'm out here playing casual around, and really just kind of play my game. And really, it's honestly concentrating on that lead foot on the slippery pads. So that's what I'm gonna be concentrating on, is just the easy release and not slipping and eating it when I fall down.
Don't try and get 2s on all of them, and just keep the 4 to a minimum.
Let's take a look at some round 2 action for the advanced Grandmasters. Texas Disc Golfer Pro Dixon Jowers stopped by to help the Dynamic Disc crew, and I was able to talk to him about some new discs that he has in his bag. Let's take a look at what he has to say.
All right, well, this is Dixon Jowers, a little bit later in the year on 2013, so I wanted to give you an update on some of the things that I'm throwing now that I didn't have either in my bag at all or I didn't have in my bag worked out very well. The first one is going to be the hard plastic DD Judge. I am loving this disc. Throwing it a bunch for the very straight up shots up to about 200 feet. If you really get on it, you can go further, but just an incredibly dependable short upshot disc. It will just go flat. And then if I need a little bit longer, I'm going with the Suspect. And this is coming in all 3 plastics right now, with the Lucid being the least stable of the bunch, but still a stable disc. And the hard plastic or the Fusion being more stable. With this Suspect, I can just throw it hard and flat. It's not going to turn over, and it's not going to hyzer out a whole bunch. It's just going to fly flat, and it's going to land flat. And so for tunnel shots or up shots, this is a fantastic addition. And then the third one, you might not have any idea about this disc just yet. This is the next DD disc that's coming out. It's called the Verdict, and it's going to be a very stable mid-range disc, more so than the Suspect. And so I've only thrown it a couple times, and I like what I see so far. But I'm excited about getting this in the bag because I feel like this is a gap I have right now. Something that I can throw hard on a hyzer, and it's going to stay a hyzer the whole way, but it's going to have more glide than the Suspect. It's going to give me a little more distance, and that's something I can trust. Hopefully if I do an in the bag later on in the year, or maybe next year, I'll talk about how important this disc has been to my game.
Going into the final 9 in the intermediate division, Kyle Newell pulled himself out into the lead. Let's see what he has to say for what he's got planned for the final 9.
You know, in the final 9, really I just need to just play safe, play smart, not try anything too risky, and just keep it in the fairway.
Them changing it up, going 1-2, then 12 to 18, does that mess with your head at all? Or?
No, them changing it up, that's really not a big deal. The back half is actually my best part of this course, so I think I'll be okay.
Very own Dynamic Disc team member A-Ray takes a huge lead going into the final 9. Let's see how he's going to pull off the win in the final 9. The tournament, what does that do for your mentality going in the final 9?
Well, when you're thinking about the situation, you have a comfortable lead going into the final 9, you can't be thinking about how many strokes ahead or behind you are. When you're going in there, you got to play your game. You're playing against the course, not the other players, and you want to make sure every time you take your time, execute a good shot. If you can execute well, the fact that you have a lead is not going to matter. If you can execute well, you have a good chance of winning.
As the cloud moved and the Texas sun shined down on everyone, the final 9 for the advanced men's division takes off. Let's take a look at a few clips from the final 9.
On the final 9, the last few holes were, I was kind of in coast mode. Honestly, I had luckily I built a decent lead in the first round, and it was down to 3 strokes coming into that last final 9. But that was mainly only one person. The other guy was 6 strokes behind me, and so on the second hole of the final 9, the guy that was 3 strokes had a 6, and so I kind of just started taking it real easy from there and just going through the motions and getting my 3s. I went to high school here. I live a good 40 minutes away, and I play this course, not this course, but the next door. I play those courses once a week, and but I think my game is where it's at because I play a good 5 different courses a week, and I get around and play as many minis as possible. So. It's tournament, so it's that mindset that really changes when you're coming into this to a tournament. It's being relaxed, having fun, but also going out there and executing the shots. Just understanding that you practice hard, you practice a lot, sticking with your form, and muscle memory. I'm signed up for Am Worlds, and so I'll definitely be out in Kansas. Hopefully I can show up and maybe get a top 5. That'd be the plan. But I might play Crowley next week. But if I play anything besides Am Worlds, I'll be playing Open just to challenge myself and play with those better players to push myself. And that's another thing I would tell people. If you're new, play rec, but don't play rec too much. Move up and start playing with better players as much as possible, and just push yourself.
Well, that's it for the 2013 Amateur Championships, brought to you by Dynamic Disc here in Cedar Hill, Texas. I want to thank everybody for letting me go out there and film you. I want to thank Jesse Oquist from DiscGolfMe.tv for helping me with the Amateur Division's Final 9. This is Cool Daddy Slick Breeze for Dynamic Discs. See you next time.